be open to experiences, correct? Correct? Open to experiences, open to not just one idea, but continuously drilling.
So then the question is, how do you know that's the only way you come to know things?
Surrendering to the comfort of an idea, or your class, or your culture. These things are drilled beforehand first.
Okay.
If you don't question those things, then you come to know knowledge yourself.
Okay, so then now my question is, how do you know that's the only way by which you can come to know things?
How do you, I would imagine it's because that one time how do you, that's how people grow. How do you observe people grow?
See,
How do you observe people growing?
This is the problem, and this is what's going to happen.
Please illustrate how I'm the problem.
I'm going to ask him how he comes to know things, and then when he gives me an answer, I'm going to say, how do you come to know that? What's going to happen is...
If you don't like my answer, what's your answer?
Sir, this is what I'm trying to explain. If you want to have a rational conversation, you have to let other people speak. Sir, so if you want to have a rational conversation, it works both ways. So, what I'm going to explain is this. What happens is, it's called an infinite regress. Everyone has a final authority by which you will appeal to. So when I say, how do you know something?
How do you know?
Sir, you have to let me speak. A rational conversation works both ways. So what happens is, I'm going to say, how do you know A? You're going to say, I know A because of B. Well, how do you know B? I know B because of C. How do you know C? I know C because of D. It's an infinite regress. You will always appeal to something outside of yourself. And that's what I'm saying. How do you know what you believe? And how do you come to know that to be true? Because you will always appeal to something. And how do you know that's true?
Okay, so your point is that there's limitations to how human beings can derive conclusions about the world. Fair enough.
So, let me ask you a question. Could you be wrong about everything you claim to know?
Could I be wrong about everything I claim to know?
Yes.
Could I be wrong about everything I claim to know? Well, I could certainly be wrong about a great deal of things, but so we both share that flaw, don't we?
So then this man just confessed that he could be wrong about everything he claims to know. So if he could be wrong about everything, how does he know he's right about what he's saying to me?
How do you know you're right? If it applies to you, it applies to all.
So let me ask you a question then. There's an infinitely holy God. Could he reveal things to mankind in such a way that they can know them for sure?
I don't believe.
Doesn't matter. You will stand before him one day, sir, and you will give an account. That's why you don't have answers to my question.
It's a condemnation.
The Bible says that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. That's why you don't have answers, sir. Come to Christ today. Come to Christ today, and you can have answers, sir. I'm pleading with your soul today. Folks, you see what happens? When you reject God, you reject knowledge and wisdom altogether. That's why the Bible says the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge and wisdom. See, mankind will always appeal to a final authority outside of themselves. You will always appeal to something. Sir, what do you appeal to as your final authority?
I got nothing.
Do you believe what I'm saying today?
That fear of God is the beginning of knowledge?
Yeah.
If that were true, I wouldn't exactly like it. I don't appreciate the idea of fear as a tool of education. I don't want to believe that the only way to know something is to abide by a higher power, to first observe some divine will and have them create a structure of thought for me.
Let me ask you a question. Are you a finite being? Are you mortal or immortal?
Well, I haven't died yet, so I don't quite know yet.
Okay. So you're not God. So then my question would be then, who are you to judge the infinite, almighty, wise God of the universe as though you're wiser and smarter than Him?
I'm not judging anything. I'm expressing my opinion on or expressing.
Okay, it's not my expressed belief. You know God exists, but you suppress the truth in unrighteousness. That's the reality. And that's why we're here today to speak to you. And that's why I said to you before that the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge. Unless you start with God, you can't know anything. You can't make sense of anything in the world apart from God. You may come to know facts about certain things, but you can't make sense of anything apart from God.
That's a really good argument, because no matter how I attack your argument, you're going to go back to, I have faith in God, God is all-knowing, God is all-powerful, therefore, He trumps anything you can come up with.
Right, because if there's no one higher than God, then who are you going to appeal to? Are you going to appeal to yourself and your own fallible wisdom and knowledge? because you will die one day and your knowledge will go with you. So what happens is truth is also transcendent beyond us. Truth does not exist within us, because if it did, when we die, no one could know anything. Right? So there has to be truth that exists that transcends human beings. Like laws of logic, for instance. Right? Where do you get immaterial, transcendent, non-material laws of logic, by which you couldn't even stand here and reason with me right now? You can't see them. Can you taste and touch and feel a law of logic?
What did you just say? Could you clarify what you just said? Because I'm not entirely sure I understood what you just said.
Sure. If you look at any philosophers, they'll talk about the laws of logic. Okay? What that means is, in order for you to reason rightly, in order for human beings to come around and talk and have rational conversations, there has to be a standard by which we can say is rational, right? Because we can look at somebody in an insane asylum and say, they're not rational people, right? So there has to be a standard. In order for there to be a standard, there has to be laws of logic by which govern our thinking, without which we couldn't reason rationally.
Well, I'd say the ultimate governing laws are a linear cause and effect chain. You have a cause, you have an effect. That's it.
Okay, so if that's the case, then logic is only a chemical reaction in the brain. So you fizz one way, I fizz another way, whatever I fizz and whatever you fizz, nobody's right, because we all fizz a different way. So nobody can ever condemn another human being for their actions then, if we're all just a bunch of fizz. Right? You can never look at another human being and condemn them for an act that they commit, because their brain was just fizzing that way.
As long as you don't hurt anyone else? No.
But who's to say that's right or wrong? How do you know that's not right to hurt other people?
It's not. How do I know? Well, isn't there some line do unto others as you would wish?
Absolutely. Jesus Christ said that. And the reason why you know that's true is because you were created in the image of God. You have a conscience. You know right from wrong. The reason you know it's wrong to lie is because God is not a liar. And you were created to reflect His image. The reason why you know it's wrong to steal is because God is not a thief. And you were created in His image and likeness.
No,
that's why you know these
things. I don't
things.
steal because people would punish me in some way if I were to not.
Okay, so if the government, so if the government made a law that said it was perfectly legal to steal from one another, would that be right or wrong?
Would that be communism?
Doesn't matter. The question is, would it be right or wrong? Or would it be morally right or wrong if the government made a law that said it was right? How about this one? The government comes out and makes a law that says it's legally right, and we encourage murdering. Would that be morally right or wrong? Just because it was legal.
Well, now you're asserting that government is a higher power that can implicate morality. I don't agree that government is perfect. I don't agree that government can create laws.
I'm not asking whether they're perfect or not. I'm asking, would it be morally right or wrong if the government declared something like that?
I'm saying morality isn't perfect. I'm saying morality can't be properly...
Then where do human beings get their morals from?
Society. And just
society?
personal beliefs. I mean, personally, I do believe in God. I just I don't align myself with any particular religion.
Okay.
I prefer to think of God as just a being that started some reaction that resulted in us, and is observing himself, or herself, or themselves.
So let me ask you a question then, and the question that I asked that other gentleman. Could you be wrong about everything you claim to know?
Sure.
Okay, so that's the problem. If you could be wrong about everything you claim to know, how do you know you're right? How do you know you're not deceived? How do you know you're not deceiving yourself? You've just conceded to the fact that you could be wrong about everything.
The thing is, you assume that if I were wrong, I would be in some way disillusioned, that I would feel in some way negative. I don't care if I'm being lied to.
Think about this for a second.
Because
if I looked at that building right there, and I was a demolition crew, and we were going to blow up that building as a demolition crew, And you came up to me and you said, have you searched the building? Do you know if there's any people in there? And I said, I'm not really sure. And you said, could you be wrong? And I said, yeah, I guess I could be wrong, but I'm going to blow it up anyway. That would be crazy. And that's what you're doing with your soul. I'm saying, could you be wrong about everything? And you said, I could. So if you could be wrong about everything, it means you have no certainty upon truth. And that's what I'm saying. This is just the proof of what the Bible says. Unless you start with God, you can't know anything. And that's why you've just conceded to that fact. You can't know anything for certain.
I'm going to go over to a faith argument. I have a fair amount of faith that what I know is certain.
Could your faith be wrong?
My faith now.
I am challenging your faith.
But no, my faith can't be wrong.
So let's go back to the other question of morality.
This is religion. How can faith be wrong?
So, well, let me just say this. Faith and reason are not the antithesis of each other, okay?
No, they're not.
You can't reason properly unless you have faith. Okay? So this is what I'm saying is that's why I asked you, could you be wrong about everything you claim to know? And you said yes. So how do you know that you have a right to faith? Because if you could be wrong about everything, then you don't know if your faith is right. And you could be deceived.
So there could be no right faith. There could be nothing correct at all.
There is a right faith, and there is a true belief. And the truth is in Jesus Christ. Search. Come to Christ, sir. That's what I'm pleading with you. Come to Christ.
If he's saying, it's okay that I did it last week, but I want to do the same thing to church.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
Good.
Yeah, and I love the Lord utterly.
Amen.
And I just want to do the same thing. And he has taken me, and taken me out of things that I never thought I was going to do. And my faith just grows more and more each day. And I feel sorry for people because if they only knew the lie, they exist. And I say to myself, and I get Bible classes, and I tell them, the same way you see your faith, is when you say lottery, and $1, or $2, 500, and you have that faith, and that hope that you win. Why can't you give that faith and that hope to the Lord? It's for free, and see what He does for you, and they look at me like,